Throughout human history, whenever we looked at the sky, we had only one loyal friend that gave us peace, illuminated our nights, and kept our oceans in balance: the moon. However, in the dark and ruthless depths of the universe, nothing is safe forever. On an ordinary Tuesday night, a massive and silent flash explodes in the sky. A giant asteroid, coming from outside the solar system at a speed of 70 kilometers per second, strikes the moon with terrifying violence. Astronomers on Earth freeze at their telescopes. Because this collision does not destroy the moon. It does something much worse. It disrupts the moon's perfect orbit and puts it on an elliptical and deadly path. Within hours, supercomputers calculate humanity's ultimate fate. The moon has veered off its orbit and will collide with Earth in exactly 12 months. This is not a Hollywood movie. It is a ruthless countdown dictated by the laws of physics. Now, we are embarking on a chronological and scientific journey toward those final 12 months that humanity and this blue planet will experience. Only weeks after the collision, we enter the 11th month of the countdown. NASA, the European Space Agency, and China make a joint emergency broadcast, acknowledging the risk but stating they are uncertain to calm the public. The moon is still 350,000 kilometers away from Earth. When you look at the sky, nothing seems to have changed. People on social media argue that this is a lie, a new game played by governments. However, the oceans do not lie. Gravity is sensitive to distance. The moon approaching us by just a few thousand kilometers increases the tides on Earth by 10%. Water levels along coastlines begin to rise. Streets in cities like Venice, Amsterdam, and Miami are flooded. People still go to work, they still pay their bills. But in the background, the footsteps of a great crisis are being heard. We have reached the 9th month in the countdown. The moon is now at the 300,000 kilometer limit. Even to the naked eye, it appears larger than normal. The denial phase in the media gives way to global fear. Tides have now increased by 30%. The world's largest ports are being submerged, and global trade is coming to a standstill. Millions of people living by the ocean begin to migrate inland. Insurance companies declare bankruptcy one after another. However, the real tragedy is experienced not by humans, but by the true owners of nature. Whales, dolphins, and sea turtles, which have found their way for millions of years according to the moon's magnetic pull and tides, are losing their roots. Beaches around the world are filled with tens of thousands of stranded sea creatures. Migratory birds lose their sense of direction and die of exhaustion in the middle of oceans. Underground, a much darker physical process begins. The increasing gravitational pull of the moon begins to stretch the Earth's crust like a rubber band. Scientists call this tidal stress. Slight but constant earthquakes begin to be felt all over the world. Only 80 months left until collision. The distance is 250,000 kilometers. The moon in the sky is now eerily massive. Tides have doubled. Mega cities like London, New York, and Tokyo have been abandoned to the mercy of the ocean. The moon's immense gravity is also affecting the atmosphere. Wind routes called jet streams are disrupted. It snows in deserts, and unprecedented storms break out at the poles. Fault lines called the Pacific Ring of Fire awaken, and volcanic activities erupt globally. Governments declare global martial law. America and Russia plan to launch all the nuclear missiles they possess into space to destroy the moon. However, mathematics is very cruel. The moon is a massive rock mass 3,400 kilometers in diameter. Even if you detonated all the nuclear bombs in the world at the same time, you could only open a small crater on the moon's surface. For the first time, humanity understands clearly how helpless it is against the power of the universe. The Mars rockets of billionaires making escape plans explode on their launch pads due to the disrupted atmosphere and constant earthquakes. We are entering the last 3 months. The moon is now at a distance of 150,000 kilometers and covers a large part of the sky. Even during the day, it creates an eerie shadow. The oceans are completely out of control. Mega tsunamis advancing deep into continents erase many countries from the map. Earthquakes are now magnitude 7 or 8 and never stop. The animal kingdom has completely collapsed. Large mammals are dying in masses because they cannot find food. There is no such thing as state authority, police, or army anymore. The internet is cut off, there is no electricity. A massive food crisis and looting begin. However, interestingly, in these moments when death becomes certain, human psychology changes. The great panic and chaos of the first months give way to a strange acceptance. People stop looting and return to their families, to their homes. Old enemies embrace each other in the streets. Places of worship are overflowing. Human dignity stands up again for one last farewell. Last month, the distance has dropped below 100,000 kilometers. The moon is so close that the craters and mountains on its surface look as if you could reach out and touch them. Continents are breaking apart because of the tides. Massive fault lines in the Earth's crust tear open, and lava gushes from everywhere. Atmospheric friction increases so much that the air begins to heat up. At this point, the most ruthless rule of astrophysics comes into play. The Roche limit. If a celestial body gets too close to a much larger planet, the planet's gravity begins to tear that celestial body apart. Earth's gravity pulls the face of the moon facing us so strongly that the moon cannot maintain its integrity. Massive cracks, kilometers deep, open on its surface. 2 weeks before the collision, that tremendous event occurs. The Roche limit is exceeded, and the moon begins to shatter in the sky with a great roar. Instead of a single moon, the sky is filled with millions of giant and glowing rock fragments. Massive rocks breaking off from the shattered moon begin to enter the atmosphere as a deadly meteor shower. The sky burns red day and night. Falling giant pieces swallow forests, cities, and the last signs of life. A lucky small minority waits for their fate in underground bunkers. The world outside has turned completely into a global inferno. In the last 24 hours, Earth's fate is now sealed. The remaining massive main core of the moon enters the atmosphere. The oceans begin to boil and evaporate due to the increasing temperature and pressure. The shockwave created when the moon enters the atmosphere scorches all the oxygen on Earth in seconds. There is no escape even for those waiting in underground bunkers. And the 0 hour. The collision occurs. The energy of this collision is thousands of times more powerful than the energy of that famous asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs millions of years ago. The Earth's crust cracks like a giant eggshell and melts completely. Oceans, forests, all the books humanity has written, all the music it has composed, and all the civilization it has built vanish in seconds. Earth returns to that first day it was born billions of years ago. A new, glowing, liquid magma planet. The universe is silent and ruthless. When you look at the sky today and see the moon, remember that it is not just a romantic source of light. It is part of a massive cosmic dance, tied together by invisible and delicate strings called gravity. And when one of these strings breaks, no technology, no wealth, and no weapon can stop the laws of nature. So, what would you do in that last month while waiting for the end of the world in such a disaster scenario? Who would you call, and what would your last words be? Share your own story with us in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue exploring the terrifying secrets of the universe.